Hey there, Drawyah here, and welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, well, big day today, and yeah, today was the final day of the British Airways 747s. So, early today, this morning, at around, what was it, 8:30 in the morning, we saw the final two 74s British Airways depart. So we had, what are the tail codes again? We had Golf, Charlie, India, Victor, it was uniform, was it? Confirm. Yes, so it was it's Golf, Charlie, India, Victor, Bravo, the Negus 747 British Airways livery. The aircraft took off and flew over to Kemble, where it will then become a static display for people to visit. While the second aircraft, Golf, Charlie, India, Victor, Yankee, G-CIVY, head off to St Athan, where unfortunately it now faces scraps. So it's a sad day today, that's for sure. British Airways are not going to now have their 747s. They are all out of the fleets, out in their own way. And so, today's stream, we're going to recreate the final flight over the 747s, which in this case will be Golf, Charlie, India, Victor, Yankee, G-CIVY. And this is BA 747, Speedbird 747, from here at Heathrow to St Athan, including the low flyby of the airport as well. So, this is the one that headed down south, flew over London before coming back in again, and then did a flyby of the runway 27 left at about 750 feet. And so, a lot for us to enjoy today. And therefore, we shall be doing that. So, first things first, jump in the cockpit, set the aircraft up, program our flight plan, and prepare everything as it was for the flight today. And while I don't have the exact flight plan that they used today, because I can't quite find the waypoints for that, I've basically taken the routing out of Flight Radar 24. So you can see, departed, looped around, back over the left-hand runway, for making its way over to St Athan. So the flight plan I have got pretty much follows that flight plan waypoints to waypoints, and therefore we'll give a go at that today. Alright, into the cockpit, let's set this aircraft up. First things first, we will turn on the battery. And let's turn on the external power. So bring a bit of light in the aircraft, power it all up. Set the IRS to nav mode. Turn on the navigation lights. And that should be that at this stage. Everything else turns on later. We've already filled the aircraft up, so we've got plenty of fuel for this flight today. So we shall program the FMS. No packs, so there's no passenger on board this aircraft. There's an empty flight to this destination, therefore only people on board only people on board were the pilots. So no passengers, no packs. Right, let's set up the position. So we're at Echo Golf Lima Lima. Take that, stick it into the IRS. That will do. That's the route. So departing from Echo Golf Lima Lima, and our arrival is Echo Golf Delta X-Ray. So it's a Ministry of Defence airfield we're landing at, and also a scrappers yard for commercial jets. Flight number is BA747. The other aircraft, the Negus that flew to Kemble, that was Speedbird 400 by the way, Speedbird 400. While the 747 is the one we're taking today. And company routes, no company route, we're plugging our waypoints manually. Starting off with Kennett. Plug that in. Following Kennett, give it a second to load, it's going to be that one. Following Kennett, we fly to Okesi. And then finally, we fly to It's John. And so that flight plan there takes us pretty much the route of the 747 that flew today. And that should be as close as we're going to get. So I'm sure the exact waypoints and all that will come out at some point soon. But in terms of flight plan, that pretty much follows that. So that's our flight from Heathrow to St Athan set. Let's head over to the departure page. Actually, before we do that, we're on the rest of our aircraft up to performance. Cost index, we can't really set it, can we? I know the cruising altitude is 20. And that's pretty much that. And then takeoff. We'll set up the runway first. So departing runway 27 right. No SID, fly direct to Kennet. Well, we don't really fly direct to Kennet. It's like I say, as you depart from Heathrow, we do a loop of London. So we depart, heads left, heads down the south of Kingston, before coming back in, performing an ILS approach into the runway. So we follow the aircraft in, sent about 700 feet. Thank you very much for the 55 Norwegian kroner there. Road to Sunrise, thank you very much. So, fly down 700 feet, we'll climb back up again, and then heading on towards the flight plan. So, we're going to do that. Hopefully, we'll go to plan. Right, so that's all set. Execute that. Sets the takeoff. We use 10. No, we're not. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to do a nice and slow departure. We'll use 20 degrees of flaps. And if you look at photos and videos of the departure today, the flaps were down. The aircraft was low and slow, so I'm going to pull that all out. V-speeds, so it's a light and empty aircraft 747 today. We'll be rotating, well, V1 is 139. Rotates. Ah, it's not let us change it. Fair enough. No, the A320 you can change the V-speeds, but if it's set like that, then we'll just rotate on our own accord. Fair enough, so we're going to rotate about 140 to 145 today. And that should, I mean, that's set. Okay, perfect. Alright, let's go into a line. It's going to be another 2 minutes or so. So that's ready to go. Let's program the autopilot ready to go. So departing will initially climb out to 250 knots. At no point did this aircraft ever actually speed over 250. 250 was the speed for the entire cruise. Altitude sets you to initially 4,000. And so, as the aircraft flew, let's go full screen. So as the aircraft flew, you'll notice by the calibrated altitude there, the parts holds about 4,000 before looping back in again, then coming into land. Well, not coming into land, but fly by the airport down to 750 feet, before eventually climbing out up to 2,000, starts descent, and then comes into land at St Athan. No ILS, no real guidance into the airport. It's pretty much just a straight-in approach. Do that by hand. Right, heading, we'll leave that on the, we'll set that to 270. There we go. Flight director set. And that should now be everything ready at this stage. So, IRS is landing 1 minute, FMS is set up, we'll turn on the AP in just a couple of minutes, and then departure time was around 20:35. Sorry, 8:30, 8:35, sorry, early morning. Short flight is a short flight, it's about 1 hour the entire length, so the 747 departed over Heathrow, out of Heathrow around this one departed at 8:37. Loops around, back over Heathrow again by about 8:47. It's about 10 minutes to do the loop over London. And then by the time it landed at St Athan, it was about 9:15 in the morning. So it was less than an hour of a flight. And really, it was more of a, well, showcase of Heathrow. So the plan was originally to do a parallel takeoff. So this was on the 27 left, Negus on 27 right. Both take off at the same time. And essentially, fly out their own accord, but ultimately because of bad weather they decided to cancel the parallel takeoff and instead do one after the other. Right, so far so good. IRS is aligning, there we go. Let's start up the APU. Let's bring some life into the aircraft, shall we? And so, alongside the sim footage today, I have also got some real-world footage of the aircraft in action. And so, clicked to ride myself, clicked to ride my brother, and therefore, as we do some sections of real-life flights, we'll also have some of the video footage going alongside that as well. So, hopefully, if all goes to plan, like I say, we'll get some actual real-world footage in alongside the sim footage, and kind of draw a gap between real life and sim. Right, APU should be available now. Yes, it is. So power off. Power's in the aircrafts. And at this stage, we're pretty much now ready to push and start. Again, you guys remind me, after we've pushed and started, basically tell me in chat anti-ice, 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 because, well, the sim, very hot on the anti-ice there, or very hot on the freezing there. And so, just kind of thaw things out a bit. One more thing I should also set as well. So if I go over to the radio navigation, and set the frequency of 109.50. And so that will be the frequency that we're going to hook onto on the localizer, but we won't be using approach. So we'll set altitude manually at 700, and then the localizer we'll use to go down the runway for heading off on our own accord. So, yeah, that's about that really. Let's call the pushback tug over, and let us now push back from the stand. Oops. There it is. Flight time, no more than an hour. It's about 45 minutes to St Athan. And so, as we push back, essentially we're going to immediately tell the aircraft to push the nose to the right, and therefore west hand to the left. Yes, this is the Salty Simulation 747, so we're using the mod for the flight today. Waiting for the pushback tug now to add pressure to the nose. There we go. Parking brake released. Engine number 4. Well, fuel pumps active. Engine 4 starts. Engine 4 fuel flow starts. Request turn to the left. Not yet. Anti-ice, not yet. Yeah, it's very tight down here by the BA maintenance area. Probably gonna have to do for the pushback there. Right, engine 4 is starting. As soon as 4 starts, we'll then go move on to engine number 1. Then 3, then 2. So it's 4, 3, 1, 2. The engine start sequence in 747. And also the beacon lights are active. Can't forget that. Right. Fuel pumps active. Engine 1 starts. Engine 1, fuel flow starts. Wait for the start switch to reset. Engine 3 starts. Fuel flow, run. Anti-ice is used to stop the aircraft from freezing over, basically. As with icing, it can cause systems to fail, it can cause, for example, like the pitot tubes and sensors to freeze over and therefore we get inaccurate information. And so, yeah, it's kind of... well, it's what anti-ice does, it stops the aircraft from freezing over. 250 knots was the max cruise speed of this aircraft's full stop. Most 747s will easily cruise at much higher speeds, but on this occasion, 22,000 feet, and pretty much a cruise for no more than 5 minutes. It never really changed from 250 knots. We do slow down to 160 knots, I believe. Yeah, 160 knots during the flyby over runway 27 left. And so we'll slow down for that, but then we speed up again and continue the rest of our flights. Fuel flow starts. Flaps down to 20 degrees. And there we have it. So, we'll turn off the AP generators, we'll turn off the APU, powers in the aircraft, we'll turn on the stabilizer fuel pumps. And let us now check one more thing down here as well. Sets the UTARA to what 2000, that'll do. That will do, that's what do. Set the auto brakes to reject takeoff. Flaps are set. Everything is set. Let's turn on the taxi lights. Release the parking brake. And let's get going. And so taxi the runway. Very short, given that the runway is just to our right now. Right, flaps sets, brakes sets, speed's all set, everything's all set. Yep, this should be a more than swell flight today. So, on screen now, the first clip I've got from the real world flight today, and that is the first flight about to depart. Now flight's hodged towards the runway as the 2 prepares to depart. So, on the right there, you've got the Negus livery 747. That's going to be Golf Charlie India Victor Bravo. That one headed to Kemble, and on the left, just to right there, you've got our aircraft Golf Charlie India Victor Yankee G-CIVY And then that's one that's we're flying today to St Athan. Did the flyby over to 7 lefts. And yeah. Yeah, flight doing today, like I say. Right. It's okay, I'm not quite sure that's meant to happen. Once one aircraft gets in there of a landing. There you go. So Negus now departing, and their aircraft now enter the runway. And lights active. Strobes active. Whoops, give me that one. So the cam footage is recorded by my brother, so he was also at the takeoff today. And so I was based on the north side of the airport looking around where Terminal 5 is. My brother recorded the footage over by the maintenance hangars. So at some point today as well, I have got his permission, I do plan to upload a few clips of the flights today. Right, let's get going. So there we have it, the final takeoff, British Airways 747, Speedbird 747, V1, rotate, oops, not that one, I wanted that one. So climbing up to 4,000 feet. We'll fly runway heading for making a left-hand turn. At this point, we'll bring onto the autopilot to manage. Come on, Microsoft Flight Sim. What I was going to do is going to pick up speed to 250 knots, and then at 250, continue climb. It's very harsh, the 747's autopilot. Go. There we go. That's much more streamlined. Right, let's make a left-hand turn now. So, gonna hold at 4,000. Gonna make a heading down via the south of London. Therefore, make heading towards 090. Flight time about an hour. There we go. Once I've got issues with the autopilot, just need to learn to manage it. So like I say, during the lift-off there, did have to take hold of it while it's being up to 250 knots. But at this point, the autopilot's treating us rather fine. Yeah, weather's looking rather interesting today, I must say. Right, so at this point we are now flying towards Croydon. And so I'll take it as far as Croydon for making a slight left-hand turn towards Bromley, and then right over central London. And we'll reconnect back onto the glide slope, back onto the ILS 4 runway 27 left, fly by the runway before making our way back towards, well, making our way towards our destination really. Oh, so takeoff I wouldn't say it's too fast at all. And the 747, don't forget, it's got 4 engines, a big powerful jet, and there's no weight to it. There's no cargo, no passengers, very light fuel. There's no weight to this today. The aircraft's pretty much flying on empty. And so landing it as well should be mighty smooth, since there's really nothing that can go wrong for us today. At least that's the hopes at least. There's Heathrow Airport now in the background. Back over there in about 10 minutes. How to keep 747 level? Don't overdo it with the rate of climb. A shallower rate of climb generally keeps the aircraft nice and stable. Right, as it stands, we can see one aircraft just over there. We'll be landing Heathrow now. Below is around there. Airspace is relatively clear. We should be doing alright in terms of our own approach in. No aircraft around for us to cut across really. So far so good. I mean, it's a case of, I do my own flying, but also this thing needs to be on my side as well. Will it do something it shouldn't do? Will it fly normally? Give me 2 seconds. I need to check one more thing as well. Yeah, I thought not. So 250 knots, 4,000 feet. In just a moment, we'll make a left-hand turn. And so one slight inaccuracy of this flight is also that we're using 748 rather than 747-400. That's why that's the fact that Microsoft Flight Sim doesn't have a 744, and therefore 748, closest you're going to get. Stick a British Airways livery on it. It counts. It counts. So, what do I mean by final 747 flight? So, as of today, British Airways no longer own 747s. They retired them all, and today we saw 2 departures out of Heathrow, 1 to Kemble, 1 to St Athan. So we are recreating today's St Athan flights within Microsoft Flight Simulator. Alright, going to make a slight left-hand turn now. Zero 060. And then just on the southern tip of the Thames, so at this point we're now doing this leg. So we made the left-hand turn, now carrying on. And where the Thames is, we make a nice and long 180-degree turn, head back towards 270, and bring it back over the runway. Right. we are. Farewell, City of London, for the very last time. And then how are we doing for the localizer? So far, so good. Diamond's adjusting on screen. Turn that on. So I'll let the localizer guide us over the runway. Let that do all the adjustments. Once we're in line with the runway, what we'll then do is we'll start to slow down. We'll start to descend. So the actual flyby, like I say, took about 700 feet at 160 knots. Thank you, Elite, for the €5. Light scan of 747 for you. I mean, I got to do that as well, don't I? At some point I will. I mean, I was supposed to fly 747 back in May. I had a ticket in my hand. I was supposed to go to New York in 747. But sadly, that trip got cancelled on me because of, well, COVID-19 and civil unrest in America. Made that trip rather, well, made the trip undesirable. And then the flight got cancelled anyway, and therefore I lost my money on that. Well, I didn't lose my money, I got a refund for it. But it's a shame. I very much wanted to fly the 74, but sadly, it's one of those things that you get so close, yet so far. You guys also failed. You didn't tell me to turn on your autopilot, auto anti-ice. Right, down to 160. And down to 700 feet. That's one. Come on, there we go. That's 2. So 7 feet, 100 feet, descent set, 160 set. We're lowering flaps now, which will allow the aircraft to fly low and slow the runway without causing any problems for ourselves. So the 4 flaps flyby. Right, flaps are set. Aircraft's descending. Currently holding it around 160, 170 knots.
2500.
Passing through 2000. $1,000. $700. Not landing, doing a flyby, don't you worry. Have it. Right. That's 270 knots sets. And we now start climbing to 22,000 feet. So up you go. First complete sets. Start climbing at 2,000 feet per minute. Speed up to 250 knots. Let's get out of it. Overspeed alarm sounding. Not overspeeding. Perhaps it's just low altitude. There we go. Right, 250 sets. 22,000 sets. We'll increase climb now to 3,000 feet per minute. There we have it. Now leaving Heathrow. So, yeah, that was the real flyby today. And while it probably wasn't a perfect recreation of it, given that this is a live stream going alongside of it, this is as close as you're going to get. Right, so there goes Heathrow Airport. And there we go. At this point on, it's now normal flights. Everything is pretty much standard. So climb to 22,000 feet. We'll continue to climb. As we hit cruise, we'll be there for about 5 minutes or so. We start our descents. And then make our way into destination. Do you have the RBA livery? I've got the Landor livery. I don't have the Negus livery. No, truth be told, I was never a fan of the Negus livery. Something about it that I just don't like. I think it's the lowercase a in Airways. But, no, I've got Landor. I actually flew that on JFK in the sim as well, so I did a Heathrow JFK stream. And then today, flying the modern Chatham Dockyard livery. Ah yes, Jared's been left behind. Of course he would be. So leaving Heathrow behind, now in the clouds. Stand out some of the sets. He led by Campbell, it was working. I mean, I live and work in London, so I had the opportunity to actually go down to Heathrow to spot the aircraft. So if you go on my Facebook or Instagram pages, you can see some of the footage I took from the day. And like I say, on the lower right there, the videos. Some of that was myself, some of that recorded by my brother, and so he's also giving me permission to upload the footage later, and so at some point, probably tomorrow morning, I'll also upload the, well, like a little timeline video of all that. Oh yeah, British Airways will replace 74 routes with the 78s and, well, 78s, 777s and A350. They'll take over the 747 routes. Right, it's about past route 10,000, and lights come off. Finally. Now, this aircraft pretty much had non-eventful flights the rest of the way. The other aircraft, Negus, had their flyby with the red arrows as it approached Kemble. So there is footage out there on YouTube of the red arrows flyby. In our case, straightforward flight, climbs to 22,000, fly as normal, start a descent in towards Kemble, in towards St Athan, and then come into land. Resume on the ND again. And what is that range? Range 80 miles. That's 80 miles already. Hang on. 80 miles to It's John. Okay, it's got a little bit of distance left. British Airways gets the 777X probably around mid-2020s. They have ordered some. IAG have ordered a couple of 777Xs, so they will be getting some delivered soon. Hey, you're down by the 27 right way, you Neil. I was north side by one of the hotels. I can't remember the name of it. And I don't plan to ever return there because the owner, not a good experience, to say the least. So, yeah, not somewhere we'll be spotting again. Right, passing now through. Soon pass through 17,000. A little bit of ice forming, so passing anti-ice is turned on, but not quite as severe icing as some previous flights, that's for sure. And yes, the British Airways send-off also came with very British weather, to say the least. So British Airways will focus on smaller aircraft, but the plan was to keep the 747s flying until 2024. However, because of COVID, all of a sudden nobody's travelling, fuel prices go up, 747 is just too expensive to maintain, so it wasn't an easy decision to make, as BA did really want to keep their aircraft going. In fact, a year ago, they renovated the cabin of half their fleets, so they were upgrading the aircraft, keeping it going. Ultimately, too much was going on, not enough people flying, they couldn't fill it, and it's just, yeah, it's an end for that. And like I say, it's a shame, because I had a ticket to fly the 747, I should have flown this aircraft back in May, but it's something that I got so close to it so far. I had it, but I lost it. Well, there is an opportunity to fly 747 in the future, with perhaps Korean or Lufthansa, their 748s. We'll see. We'll have to see. Right, going up to cruising altitude now, 22,000. Ah, we made a break from the clouds as well. Very nice indeed. That will be cloud surfing for most of these flights. Thank you, Silent Treatment, for becoming a sponsor. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Always appreciate the support. Why is my 747 working perfect? Because practice. I've practiced a lot in this aircraft, to the point that I can now fly it with relative ease. It's not perfect. And even in the flyby, I was perhaps a little bit high on the approach there, so I was a bit of a nosedive approaching towards the runway. But ultimately, with enough practice, with enough learning of the systems and all that, the aircraft Microsoft Flight Sim, they're not difficult to fly by any means. Right, in a couple of minutes, we will start our descent. What do you think about Watch Dogs in London? I'm excited. I'm very excited for Watch Dogs Legion. I mean, as a London myself, I mean, London's a major city. You guys know that, but we don't have many games based here. I mean, a lot of it is based in the US, like New York. For the most part, all New York. But I don't know. I always preferred Watch Dogs to Grand Theft Auto. And so, Watch Dogs 1 in Chicago, completed that. Watch Dogs 2, San Fran, completed that. I do plan to pick up Watch Dogs 3 relatively quickly. In fact, 3080, I'm guessing the graphics card does come with a free copy of Watch Dogs Legion. So hopefully, if all goes to plan, I'll get that soon. And you never know, I might stream some gameplay or something. We'll see. I'm currently number 584 in the queue of getting a 3080. There is a fuel fix, Yusuf, on the what's the website called? The mod website. There's a couple of them. Nexus. There's a fuel fix on Nexus mods, which you can download. Fixes the 747's fuel burn issue. So right now we are on. Well, we've left Heathrow now. We've done the flyby. We've now left the area, and so we're heading now towards Swindon kind of area, so not too far from Brize Norton. Brize is going to be to our right hand side somewhere. We have a left hand turn shortly, which takes us over towards, takes us on more of an alignment into St Athan. And descent is in just a couple of minutes. So do standard 2,000 feet per minute, 250 knots count. That's perhaps about a minute, we'll start our descent into St Athan. Even there, Niels, how you doing? Welcome to the channel, welcome to the chats. 55th, not bad. You're getting there, Lord Necton. Should get yours well before I get mine. I mean, based on how the numbers are going down, maybe 5 or 6 weeks till mine gets shipped out. Oh, I didn't see the AMD release, no. How is it? How is Big Navi looking? 737 PMDG comes out Q3 next year. What's some time left for that? 747, so they stopped doing commercial flights earlier this year, but today, British Airways ships them out for the final time. Right, let's start our descent, shall we? So 2,000 feet per minute. $250 knots. We may reduce that to 240. And in terms of approach, there is no approach into St Athan. No guidance, no visuals, no nothing, anything like that. It's just a case of we descend, we spot the airport, we land at airport. I ordered the Asus 3080. Sorry, no, I lie. MSI, the MSI. Descending the 7.4, probably the thing I have most difficulty with in the sim, just because it's so temperamental. Either the speed picks up, or the altitude doesn't descend as much as you want it to. Go. That will help. About 40 miles to go now. Let's grab the meta information for St Athan. Right, QNH 1019. 7 knot winds. Visibility plus 10 below. How high below? No, visibility is 7,000 meters. Below 4,000. So, not the greatest for a visual approach today, but can be done. Can easily be done. Set the auto brakes to 4, not quite max, but relatively high. Making a break through one layer of cloud. A little bit of ice forming in the aircraft as well, but nothing's going to cause too many problems for us. $30 miles to go. Altimeter set 1019. In a couple of moments, get ready to activate the landing lights. Hey, there be a butter. Sending off the Queen right now. Alright, landing lights active. Not those, but that's yes. Yeah, so I need to get on the wing and scrape that off. I wish it was that simple. I wish. Get a giant scrunchie and just scrape the wing. Bit of a... well, grab the kettle in the back, pour that over the wings. Bit of hot water always helps as well. Right, it's passing through 8,000 now. About 20 miles to go now. No, I am not a pilot. I'm just either very good at what I do, or very lucky. Let's have a look. What was the approach speed for our flights today? So, at this point, we're heading towards the last waypoint now, which is about here, this final left-hand turn. In reality, the aircraft is at 8,000 feet, about 200 knots. The approach came in, we're down to 115, so again, a very slow approach today. But just because the aircraft is that light, it could afford to do that. So, 200 knots, we'll make the centre rate slightly shallower. Below the clouds now, got some decent visibility. Yes, it's practice, practice, practice. The more you fly, the better you get, absolutely. Right, almost there. And so this aircraft landed after the Kemble landing. And therefore this was the last ever British Airways 747 flight. As of 9:15 this morning, there will never be a British Airways 747 flight ever again. There's no chance that IAG will order any 748s. In fact, they had some of the cargo division, but they didn't last too long. And yeah, really now, it's just the end of an era. They get a little bit of turbulence, but as it stands, the runway's in sight. Let's bring it in. Flaps 20. Down to 160. Center rate will make slightly shallower. Minus 700. No, minus 400. Yes, so KLM Retainer have 330s. 330s are relatively modern aircrafts. And yet they're going for scrapper as well. It's crazy. Crazy how this world has changed in the last 6 months. Oh, sorry, did Negus make it? Oh, hang on. How did it came off 7,000? Due to weather. Ah, right, okay. Even people in Athan are starting to realise I'm here. Right, so hold at 3,000 for short bits. We'll then drop to 1,000. We'll start making the final towards the runway. And then after that, that's 25. Switch off the autopilot, manual control, bring it into land. It's a very short runway here at St Athan, so got to be very careful with the touchdown. Well, the real aircraft didn't go around, so no room for error for me here. It's now or never. Just to our left, we can now see Cardiff coming into view. We're expecting to fly over Cardiff. Airport's just to the left over there. About 10 miles to go now, so we'll switch to flaps 30. Slow down to, again, a real aircraft landed at around 150 knots. That's quite low on the red there. Again, we are flying a 748, not a 744, so slightly heavier aircraft, slightly different approach speeds and weights and all that. But we'll go down to 125, which is relatively close. Now it's due to bring it down with. I believe it's the Rico Arena, that's the Cardiff City Stadium. Or is it that one over there? One of those two. One's a rugby field, the other one's the football stadium. Right, so far so good. A little bit to the left of the runway, but nothing that a bit of manual flying cannot correct. Get it down. And autopilot deactivates. Auto throttle disarm. And so at this point, I'm now in full-manual control of the aircraft. Therefore, my concentration now at the highest throughout the entire duration of this flight. I say, I've got no room for error today. I cannot mess this up at all. Now, so I've flown the 747 a couple of times in sim. I've got a good grasp for the 748 in here. And so it's just putting that skill to good use. No, American Airlines do not have 747s. They were retired a couple of years ago. In fact, I don't think American ever had 744s. I had 742s. But I'm not sure they ever upgraded from that. Right, 2 reds, 2 whites on the glide slope. Pass through 1000. It's a very shallow descent in, so... Just adjusting the throttle now to keep the aircraft smooth and stable. Gear down, 3 greens, landing lights set. Presume we've got landing clearance. Brakes set. Pre-landing checklist complete. I should remember that on the 747, because you're on the upper deck, it's actually 3 whites, 1 red when you keep it on. 2 red, 2 white, actually slightly too low. Just remember, different aircraft, different viewpoints.
500. 400.
Come on, Drawyah. A little bit of a headwind, a little bit of a crosswind.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Ooh, bit of a hefty touchdown. Welcome to St Athan. 80 knots. 60 knots reverse thrust cuts. There's 747. What do you expect? Smooth touchdowns. Bring the aircraft to a halt. Flaps up. Brakes disarmed, comes off. Tips. Fair enough. Thanks. Right. Landing lights, tax lights, leave active. APU starts. And let's now exit the runway. So, with St Athan being 1, a very short runway, and 2, not exactly an active runway. It's, well, you do see the aircraft spot up on the runway, do its cleanup, and then exits. Yeah, even tips had no words to that landing. You get good ones, you get bad ones. And given that this was an approach entirely with no aids or anything, I ain't gonna complain. And anything, it was a short runway, so perhaps a firmer landing for the better. Firmer landing, better you slow down. So you know what? Thumbs up. That was a perfect landing for St Athan. Right, so let's find somewhere to the side. So we're going to taxi to the end here and then turn left. And then it's here. I'll part 747 up for the last time. One thing that is for sure, that's the website that makes all those key tags out of all the airplane fuselages will almost certainly be picking this one up. And I'll probably get one as well. I mean, like I said, it's a shame that I've actually got to fly the 747, despite the fact I had a ticket booked for one. So, like I said, it's one of those things that I got so close to it, yet so far. And so, yeah, we shall see. One day it's Flight 74. There's a few airlines left that still fly them. So, one of these days I'll try and catch a ride on one of those. But I saw a keychain. It's not every day you go and see the final flight of something, especially the final flight of an entire fleet. So, that's any memories to remember with that one. APU active, engines off, beacons off, strobes off. And there we have it. Welcome to the final resting place. Oh, Charlie India, Victor Yankee. It is sad. It is sad. I mean, it's the end of an era. It's the end of a generation. And 747, the aircraft that virtually saved Boeing out of bankruptcy and has inspired a generation, it is now at the end of its life. So many memories made, so many holidays, so many trips over 50 years of its life. In this case, Civvy is about 26, 27 years old. So it's an old aircraft, delivered in the mid-1990s. And so, yeah, it's served many flights, served many passengers, served many pilots throughout its career. And it's a sad, but it is a fitting set off, especially with the low flyby over Heathrow as well. I mean, how often does that ever happen? Not very. So, yeah, let's shut it down, shall we? Anti-icing comes off. All lights off. Fuel pumps heats off. APU generators off. APU off. Oops, sorry, to make sure that's also set off as well. Alright, this is it. Farewell, 747. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream today. Tomorrow we'll fly something a bit different. We'll do a A320 flight, I presume. In fact, I've already got something, so I'll probably hand back to Gatwick. So we'll do that tomorrow. Otherwise, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. Do subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you very much for the support you've showed me recently. And, yeah, you take care. Have a great rest of your evening. Good night and goodbye. Rest well, Jumbo Jets. Until we meet again.